Hi, my name is Mark Sirota. I'm the Chief Photographic Officer at POLAROID Fotobar. Welcome to our series on tips for better smartphone photography. Tip number 2, selfies, puddle pictures, and silhouettes. Selfies, otherwise known as pictures you take of yourself, used to be known as Hail Mary photos. You used to raise the camera up, hold it up real high, and pray that the picture would come out sharp and composed with the people you wanted in the shot. Now, with the reverse ability of the screen on the back of your camera, you can actually see what's in the photograph before you take it. When taking a selfie, it's my recommendation that you shoot from a high angle, that you raise the camera up above your head and compose the subject looking up at the selfie. When you shoot down on a subject, the subject is more flattering. It thins out a subject. So for those of you who are afraid of looking too heavy in your photograph, higher angles are definitely the way to go. When you're shooting a selfie from down low, you're shooting straight up people's noses. There's something about two black holes in the middle of the picture that'll make people decide they don't like it. So when doing a selfie, number one, concentrate on a higher angle and that your subjects are both fitting into the camera. And number two, concern yourself with the lighting. The lighting is crucial. If you're backlit, in other words, the light's coming from behind you, it's going to be flared and washed out in the front. So if you make sure that the sun, or whatever light source you can possibly come up with, is in front of you instead of behind you, you're more likely to have better light on your subject, and therefore take a better selfie. The picture you're seeing here on the screen right now is taken with the sun at the back of the camera, facing actually me and my son. And you'll see that the warm, creamy light that comes from the sun is creating a very nice portrait and a very nice picture for something that most people consider a grip and grin selfie. So, to summarize, when taking a selfie, make sure your angle is high, make sure the light is coming from the opposite side of the camera, and glance up at the back of the camera just to make sure that the composition and the focus is correct. Now, to talk about silhouettes and puddle pictures. Silhouettes are a little easy for people to understand because it's basically the subject black and the background perfectly lit and evenly saturated. When taking a silhouette picture, you want to make sure that the sun is in your face and that the subject is backlit, meaning the sun is behind them. The picture you're seeing on the screen right now is a perfect example of a strong silhouette. If you don't want a silhouette, it doesn't matter what kind of background you're trying to compose. If the light source is coming from the front, it's always going to be silhouetted. Here's a sunset picture that's perfectly lit for the background. Now, this particular photograph, if you have a subject in front of you facing the camera, it's impossible to get light on their face unless you have an artificial light source. You can always have an artificial light source in the way of a reflector, a bounce card of some sort, maybe even the silver sunshades that you have in your car. They're white on one side, they're silver on the other. Those things pop open, you hold them down low, and you bounce the light coming from in front of you up into the subject. You can also use a car headlights or a flash. Some of the flashes on these smartphones aren't really strong enough to overpower the sun, but the later in the day, the more the sun is falling, the more ability your flash on your smartphone will be able to fill in that front light, called fill light. So to summarize, when doing a silhouette, make sure that the light is directly behind the subject, facing into the camera. Now, when it comes to puddle pictures, it's basically using water as a reflector. If you look down on the ground and there's a puddle of water, there's the reflection of the sky and the subjects around it in a puddle of water. Okay? So when you're trying to make a really cool, creative picture that may have a sunset in the background and water in the front, let's say you have a flat water surface, kind of a mirror-like effect, you'll see the reflection in the sky, in the water, and it makes a very creative piece of art. So to summarize there, the idea is to create a really nice reflectance picture, use water. If you're doing a photograph in your driveway, sometimes taking the hose and just hosing down the blacktop makes a better look for puddle type pictures.